Yeah. Yeah. I know they mad for no reason. I'm holding on to change my life. Gotta move fast for a reason. I'm holding on to change my life. Huddling, I'm staring at charts until I retire. Yeah. Huddling, I'm staring at charts until I retire. Oh, 700K, I'm selling a Bitcoin. Haters mad, but they listen to this one. More profit coming to my direction. Yeah, you know me, I don't need a mention. I got the remedy, ooh, yeah. They don't just follow me, ooh, yeah. You say allegedly, ooh, yeah. You would subscribe to me, ooh, yeah. Staring at chart, drawing a line. Make a decision, you out of time. Huddling, I'm staring at charts until I retire. Yeah. Huddling, I'm staring at charts until I retire. Yeah. See what I'm saying? On-chain revolution. Guns. Boom.
Welcome back to On-Chain Revolution. My name is Shizzy. On this channel, we cover the entire crypto ecosystem. What's up, guys? We have an amazing show for you guys today. We're live from the On-Chain Hour, and today's show is going to be just as good as the markets. I don't know, the markets aren't doing that good, guys. We got Bitcoin sitting at 93,626, Ethereum sitting around 3,100. We do have Solana around 136. Tau sitting around 317. What an opportunity to get in Tau right now. I'm so bullish with Tau with the halving coming up. Agent Hustle doing amazing today, up 12%. The Merl token staying strong, just down about 2% today, sitting around 35 cents. This token has been one of the strongest tokens this entire bear market, because that's what we're in, guys. We're in a bear market right now. Like it or not, it is what it is until we get into, potentially quantitative easing, until we get into knowing whether or not we are getting a rate cut, until we see some bullish momentum start happening again. Right now, we're seeing a lot of sell-off. We're seeing constant selling pressure from every aspect, right? From the NFT, from the ETFs, from, normal TradFi. We're seeing Arthur Hayes, who was just bullish 2 weeks ago, is now bearish. So I don't know if he just got new information or what, but I don't think this is the time to quit the markets. I do not think this is the time to, stop paying attention, because this is where winners are created, right? Getting into assets right now. I'm looking at assets like Sonic at 12 cents. This thing was like 80 cents like 6 months ago. I'm looking at stuff like even like Farcoin sitting at 25 cents. That thing was $1.25 not too long ago, right? There's so much opportunity in the market right now. I feel like right now is a good time to be DCing, dollar cost averaging. And that is the way you win. If you're getting in and throwing 10K into the market, you're not making a great move, right? You're really depending on that being the bottom of that cycle. But if you constantly DCA $300, $400, $500 every single week, even 100 if you don't have it, I think is a really, really good way. And then diversifying as well, right? Getting a little bit of this, getting a little bit of that. There is opportunities in the markets, though. I think I found one with Zerdinals, so we're going to talk about that later. Raoul Pal actually came out and said that he thinks we're in a 5-year cycle instead of the 4-year cycle, and says, 2021 was kind of, a year of money printing, which kind of caused the financial markets to kind of push back 1 year. And as he's expecting the same thing as me, where sell in May and go away type of year next year. But we'll see if that happens. But we have a lot to talk about today. If you're a person who put in an application for McDonald's, just know there's a lot of you. So we're going to get into that as well. But without further ado, let me bring in my partner here, as always, Mr. Yagobi. What's up, buddy?
What's up? What's up? What's up? Had to do a
What's
retake
going on,
there.
man? How are you doing?
That's how the markets are right there. Exactly how I started that off.
So let's talk about it. The market's been shit. It's been probably one of the toughest times to be in crypto, but it's probably one of the times to be in crypto, right?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes whenever it seems like the market is so bloody or just just not, it's hard to be optimistic. That can be the time whenever it's best to research and figure out what's happening during these times. I was looking on CT yesterday, and for the first time in forever, like almost all the degens in Solana tried to corral together, and work together to try to push up a coin. I think it was 2 days ago, actually. It didn't work because there's fundamental issues with Solana. It's like with these meme coins being bundled and stuff. And there's a lot of people that aren't active on crypto Twitter that actually participate in that kind of meme type of market, right? But if you go back to Bitcoin, something that we've been talking about is the 50-week SMA, right? And it did officially break down below that. But this entire year is way different than the bull run year when you're looking at a timeline, right, of the 4-year cycle. And so I think we got to really take that mentality and perspective kind of out of our minds. Obviously, we need to see the rest of Q4 and how it plays out, and then the first half of 2025, which is, I think, looking pretty far into the future for crypto terms, right? But if you're here like us and you ain't going nowhere, then the best thing to do is really research who's building what, because it's interesting. I talked about like those degens that have been kind of corralling together. That wasn't happening. And then now you see like something like Zerdinals try to catch someone. So people want opportunities. They just don't want the same ones necessarily that they just, got out of, right? So Solana, I think, is going to be pretty quiet, and people are actually going to areas that have more friction, kind of like the ordinal days, right? Zerdinal. So I think there's going to be opportunities, but it shouldn't be like forced opportunities, right? It should be something that the market is kind of saying, hey, take a look over here. And then you're like, okay, let me take a look over there. Not, oh, where's the next opportunity here and left? Because I think that can get people in trouble.
Yeah, 100%. I couldn't agree more. It kind of leads us into basically our first topic here, which is big trouble for Bitcoin. A major red flag just flashed. But could this be different this time? Could this time be different? This is something that you've been following for a while. We both kind of talked about this last week, but something you've really been harping on. But it's not just you. It's a lot of the traders. It's WebDro, right? It's a lot of the guys in the chat as well. If you want to dig into that a little bit.
Yeah. So I've been just following that 50-week SMA pretty closely, and this chart and indicator has really given us, some good data in the past, right? So you can go all the way back to, July of 2022, or sorry, July of 2018. After the run up at the end of 2017, Bitcoin topped out at 20,000. Ethereum and stuff were kind of still doing their thing here in January and February. And then you see kind of getting into the summer where Bitcoin was like, broke down below that 50-week SMA. And that's what this yellow line is, right? When it did that, and actually the first week was June, actually, that we ended on a red candle below it. And then you had follow up, 3 weeks after that. And then you had some kind of reversal, a little bit back and forth. So, it's almost like 2.5 months of indecisiveness before we started to kind of get down into this big drop, right? And we were in the bear market for that period. And then you go back to December of 2021, where people were still, bullish, because 2021 was absolutely nuts, right? Early 2022, you still had ecosystems like Phantom, Chronos, these type of ecosystems thriving and people making tons of money. Then you had, about 2 months, and then bear market, right? So bear market really started, April of 2022, and that's when all these kind of black swan events started happening one after one. Russia going to war, Luna, and then obviously at the end of that year, FTX and stuff, right? So it just seems to be an indicator of when the bear market is going to start breaking down below that SMA, and then roughly around 2 to 3 months afterwards, there's these kind of periods of just sideways and consolidation. And then it eventually breaks down. You see that here. Now, the difference in this situation we're at right now is, if you look at the 2021 cycle, you see 2 peaks here, right? So this is, I considered this kind of one peak because it was manipulated, right? Both got to that 60 69,000 or 65 to 69,000. And then the previous cycle to that one, you had Bitcoin getting to that $20,000 mark, right? And then it kind of went down. Same thing with this. We haven't had that here, right? So this year has been completely different in terms of hitting a euphoric peak and then crashing below. Now, that's why, you know, there's a possibility that this time it could be different, you know, because it hasn't been the typical 4-year cycle. And many people have been saying, get that out of your head. That's not how it works anymore. And I get it. It's easier said than done, especially if you experienced the last 2 cycles. But I do think right now, the best thing to do is really study how this cycle is playing out and the first half of next year, see how, if this is going to be like maybe a transitional period to kind of new type of cycle, or it's just going to be heavily on macro, you know, which you and I kind of talked pre-show could be the case.
Yeah, man, 100%. I think that, you know, we're about to enter a different world than we've ever seen before, right? In the sense of us being a TradFi, you know, asset when it comes to Bitcoin. But I do think there's opportunity when it comes to other assets like Ethereum and stuff like that. I think they still kind of do different than the traditional TradFi. Very risk on when that sense though.
Yep. So I'm curious though. Do you feel like that historical data that I just broke down, does that kind of go out the window here, or do we take that and say we're most likely going to go into a similar bear market type situation in 2-3 months?
I think we have to understand who we're trading against, right? And we have to understand that these guys, they want to win. So how do they win? Well, they give you the data that you're looking for to get bearish, and then they rip it the other way, right? They gave us the data over the last 3 months to be bullish, and then they ripped it the other way, right? So I just feel like we have to know who we're trading against, and they're always going to want you to do the opposite of what they want to do. Right, they want to take your money, right? So we're seeing a lot of these big financial systems come into the market, and they're actually giving you the data to be bullish or be bearish, and then they rip it the other way. So I actually feel like this is a fake out to the upside.
Yeah, it's funny because like in the meme coin kind of world, they'll post those meme posts on crypto Twitter. It's like, this is who you're trading against, and it's like you know, some guy that looks like he's horrible, just not smart, you know, and all like beat up and all that stuff. But then like the post probably going to be like some Giga Chad now, because it's like TradFi that knows this game, and you know they've been doing this for a very long time in their sector. Why wouldn't they be amazing in ours, right? In terms of Bitcoin, Ethereum, the blue chip. So yeah, I think you have a big point there. So it's more smoke and mirrors than ever in this cycle compared to the last.
Yeah, and understanding who you're trading against, we're trading against floors of people, right? Not just 1 or 2 guys. We're trading against hundreds of cubicles of people that are trying to make their firm the #1 firm, right? Trying to make as much money as they can for their firm. And we're talking, you know, 7, 8, 9 floors of some of these biggest buildings in New York City, right? That they got hundreds of people packed in these cubicles that are all trading the same markets. So they're all just trying to find edges. And if we all just kind of sit here and say, "Oh no, we broke this trend line, or we broke this MMA, we're going down now," what's going to happen is you're going to have a lot of people kind of take the opposite side of the trade because they know that's how you're feeling. You know, I'm hoping I'm right. Could be wrong, but
yeah, I mean, it does seem too easy. It's like, you know, you put research in and you figure out what's worked in the past, and they know that, right? And so, you know, I heard something about like the stock market. If it was that easy, it wouldn't be a market, right? It's complicated for a reason. I think that's what's happening here, is that it's getting complicated, but you know, I think if you know that and you catch that, then you can do much better in the future.
100%. And there's a few reasons why I'm kind of bullish right now. Glassnode actually just put out something. Let me share my screen. Distribution pressure is beginning to ease across key cohorts. After weeks of heavy spending, several holder groups are now moderating their selling. A sign that the most aggressive supply may be starting to fade as Bitcoin trades minus 20% from the all-time highs. So this is kind of the Glassnode's thing here. And as you can see, back in February and March, we've seen insane sell pressure, right? And then we start to ease up. We start to get some blue. We're starting to see that again here. Very similar. We didn't get the large sell pressure that we did, but we still got, high from the whales, right? The whales were really in sell pressure while everyone else really wasn't. But now we're starting to see some easing here up here. So it does feel like the people who did want to sell, they're out of the markets now.
Yeah. And the expectation, I think it was more than anything. It's like the expectation of probably October and November was that we would see more blue earlier. So it's kind of like not as aggressive, like you said, in the early part of the year, but aggressive compared to what the expectations were, I think. Right. So, definitely probably, could be these fake outs happening as well. But at the same time, we did break down below that, and I think they want everybody to feel the way that we're starting to feel right now.
Yeah.
And so I was you and I were just kind of kidding around and saying, what could change the mood, what could change the sentiment? Airdrops, right? By some of these big brands, big chains and stuff like that. And then a change of market sentiment obviously is going to take price to go up. Number go up, right? You still have some people like the highest IQ in the world guy from Korea. Did you see that? He said that he says Bitcoin's gonna go 250,000 in the next 45 days. I think he put that out in late October though. Yeah. And he said he's gonna use all his proceeds to build churches across the globe. And so it's like but obviously that was kind of like a poking fun at that a little bit, not the church part, but like the highest IQ guy. But people in our space too, it's weird. You're getting mixed signals. You're getting Arthur Hayes selling off, some assets, and then last week he said he was really bullish. So what's really going on?
Yeah, but you can tell crypto's in a bad place because we got this breaking news. McDonald's sees a record surge of job applications. Mickey D's, shout out to Mickey D's, now hiring fired federal employees with Ivy League degrees. No, but this is a sign of a recession. So when you're seeing people willing to take less money for their time, that is McDonald's, right? I mean, the highest I think you're getting at McDonald's is, maybe 10, 12 bucks, depending on your location. Obviously, maybe you might get more in California and less in like Maine. But like for that sense, though, that the fact that McDonald's is getting a lot of inquiries about positions, that's scary. It's a scary situation to be in. That's a sign of recession.
It is a sign of a recession. I'm sure there's gonna be like a meme coin made out of this as well, the McDonald's thing, because they play with that a lot in our space. But yeah, I mean, I hope that word doesn't come up often, right, here in the next couple months. But it is an indicator, you know what I mean? That
it would benefit us though, going into Jerome Powell's rate cut.
Sure, it could, right? I think people get scared initially. Maybe that's what we're going through now. Is headlines like this kind of scaring, spooking the markets a bit. But it's just crazy because like there's some asset classes that are doing just fine, like the tangible ones and things like that. And it's almost kind of like we have to remember how young our industry is still. It's so young to the point to where there's people retail that don't feel comfortable putting their money in our space at the moment. Institutions aren't as scared, obviously, because they know what's coming with infrastructure. And there's a bill that seems to be. I saw Brian
Armstrong.
Yeah, Armstrong was talking today about they're trying to get this passed before Thanksgiving for the infrastructure bill, crypto infrastructure bill. So that could be big. So there's still the catalysts are still out there. It's just how much of the past history data that rhymed before do we use, and what do we throw out the window? That's been the hardest part, especially for someone that's heavy on analytics like myself, right? And so that's been the tough part, for forecasting and speculating.
Yeah, for sure. There's one key indicator though that I'm not throwing out the window, and that is the DXY. Right. So every single time the DXY has dropped below 96, we've seen an alt season, right? This is the alt season of January and February 2018. And then we've seen an alt season, the entire year 2021. Right. But again, that was the bottom of, the DXY. And, I'm still expecting an alt season from January till about May of next year. And I do think that is going to come on the back of the U.S. kind of stopping quantitative tightening and people predicting that we're going to start getting into quantitative easing, which is the money printer. And usually when the money printer starts, as you can see here, we started the money printer April May and June, July of 2020, and you saw kind of what happened to the dollar. Same thing here. I'm thinking we're going to start seeing the money printer happening potentially in January, and then I think in alt season, January, February, March, and April.
I mean, this prime example that it's different this time, right? I mean, look at that. You know, we've been above that threshold for quite some time now, you know, and not breaking below it is just, I mean, I think this is a positive metric to look at right now, especially after kind of showing the 50-week SMA, right, in the candle breaking down below it. So this makes me have that, you know, add more to that thesis that this time it is different, and we use that as a joke in our space, but it might actually work this time in terms of this time is different. And I hope that that's how it plays out.
Yeah, well, we'll see. There's a couple indicators right now that are, you know, like saying it's, you know, maybe we have another month of bearishness, right? But we'll see. We'll see. We got some comments here. Shout out to my guy Ryan Bolin, the legend himself. He says, "What's up, dude? Appreciate you guys. Always appreciate you, my friend. Super fan, my guy." Erdrick says, "My Lambda Takamachi died." What?
Tamagotchi.
What is that?
Tamagotchi. That was one of those like ordinals that you had to like take care of and stuff. And, you know, I mean, like I guess like feed it some ways and all these things.
All right. Q is here. Shout out to Q. He says, "Unless you're buying Bitcoin right now, I don't want to hear you say the word bullish." I hear you, Hugh. It's hard. It's like, how can you be positive when you don't see shit positive, right? Quote from the
someone's buying Bitcoin, supposedly.
Who is buying Bitcoin?
You know who? I think it's in the. I don't want to ruin the headline, but
yeah. Gotcha. Yeah, Saylor. We can kind of get right into that. Michael Saylor said a few things here today. He said the 4-year cycle. Oh, what's going on? He said the 4-year cycles are over and Bitcoin will rally here. And then he bought some Bitcoin today. Saylor has acquired 8,178 Bitcoin for $835 million at an average price of $102,171 per Bitcoin. As you know, so basically he's getting 27% yield. I don't understand how he's doing that, but year today, as of 11/16, we hodl 649,000, and acquired it for about 48 billion. And the average price was about 74,000. So Michael Saylor is saying, "Hey, we're still 20,000 in profit on our average buy point here." So he's still buying. How do you feel about Saylor keeping it going, keeping the train rolling there?
Yeah, I mean, if that makes me feel better. The fact that, you know, he's positive about it. I only wonder if this is like the only play, right? But you know, how did he get the capital? That's the question. That's the question, right? How did he get the capital? And also, he's quadrupling down. He's, you know, so that part for me makes me feel better. Obviously, he's you know, the 4-year cycle. That's the whole conversation. This cycle is the 4-year cycle is no longer. How do we play this, you know, this industry from here on out? And I think there's going to be, you know, I guess the half glass full approach or perspective is we're at ground zero right now with this new way of playing our industry. So we're learning the game and rules and stuff like that in terms of how it's going to be played to have success. So that is 1,000% a positive. So, you know, take advantage of that, you know, be the best at it. And I think that's what, you know, I'm shooting for. And so hopefully our audience as well.
Yeah, I think him saying the 4-year cycle is dead, you know, it's huge in the sense of stop worrying about it, right? Because he's going in but yeah, remember Michael Saylor was buying Bitcoin in 2022. He was buying Bitcoin in 2023. He was buying Bitcoin in 2024. He's not going to stop buying Bitcoin. So to him, it doesn't matter what the price is because he's already up, right? He's just going to keep adding and adding. He wants 1 million. And it does look like if he continues this, he'll have 1 million by the potentially next year. But the question is, you know, obviously they moved Bitcoin last Friday, and everyone was like, "Oh, Michael Saylor's selling. He's selling 49,000 Bitcoin or whatever it was." What if that Bitcoin, and this is just me speculating, went to Coinbase for a loan? What if he is now taking loan against that Bitcoin? I mean, that is one way to get money to buy more right now, but that does give you a liquidation price by doing that.
So it makes me feel pretty good because, you know, Coinbase and Brian Armstrong is willing to give him that. So they have some sort of, you know, confidence in it. Obviously, he has a ton of Bitcoin he's
Well,
putting up
no,
against it,
you
right?
just you're putting Bitcoin
Yeah.
up as
So
collateral, and then your
yeah.
liquidation price.
So it's still, but it's still a lot of what is he bought? He got stable out of it,
Well, I
or
mean,
not,
that's
if he
it's
were to do it.
speculating.
If he were to do it and then
Yeah.
buy Bitcoin with it, right? There was a comment here actually that from Huey says Saylor has to buy, right? He has to act bullish to protect his 74K. So actually, Shizzy and I talked about this last week. That's not his liquidation price, and I think I saw Grok kind of respond because someone asked about it. You know, he would be fine. He actually would be fine if it even went lower than that. So that's not correct there. But anyways, yeah. So however he's doing it, the one thing I do think he has to be bullish about Bitcoin is because, you know, he wants it to continually like be strong, but that's about it, I think. What do you think?
I think he wants 1 million Bitcoin. I
A
don't
million?
think nothing
So he wants
bothers
it
him.
cheaper?
I mean, he doesn't matter. Cheaper, lower, he just wants, I think he has his eyes set on a certain amount of Bitcoin, right? And I don't think there's nothing that's going to stop him. If it drops in price, he's excited. If it goes up in price, he's able to take out more loans. So it's like, you know what I mean? It is what it is here. So we'll see. But Tom Lee says, hold my beer. And Bitmine buys 54,000 more ETH. They've been buying nonstop. I mean, they buy every single week at this point. Last week they bought net. They hold about $11 billion. So they are about 1/8 of the amount of that Strategy holds. Strategy has I think what is it like 77 billion or something now, and they're sitting at 11. So they're about 1/8 or a little less than 1/8 away from Strategy, and they just need Ethereum to double against Bitcoin, and they're sitting pretty healthy right now.
Yeah, Nick Kidd fast track for sure. We've seen that happen before in terms of price. But the two big guys, the two big faces, right, are still acquiring. And I actually saw this. It says this is from Grok. It says the claim that Michael Saylor's strategy Bitcoin position would liquidate at 75,000 is inaccurate. Theoretically, I guess if you put a liquidation price, it'd be 50. It'd be what does it say? 50,000? No, 20,000 per Bitcoin. 20,000 for Bitcoin. But that's not kind of how the system works there. And then you have Albert Armani that said this was interesting. I'm curious what you think too. He said Bit 444 will inject potentially trillions of dollars into the market since everyone who owns Bitcoin will get another copy of Bitcoin on the Knots Bitcoin chain. I don't think that's going to go through though. And he said exactly like what happened with Bitcoin Cash back in the day. Do you think there's a chance for that?
No, it's not happening. I don't think so. You have to understand what he's trying to do. They're not trying to hard fork your Bitcoin, right? They're just going to want everyone to turn their nodes on to the new one,
Knots.
right? And if they can't, they want your node to go basically to change to whatever. Yeah, I guess Knots is the core, right? To change from Bitcoin Core to Bitcoin Knots, it's not going to happen. You have to understand who's running the show now. It's Michael Saylor and BlackRock are running the show. They're going to tell these miners which to mine and which not to mine, right? Because if you don't pay attention to what these guys do, and Saylor and BlackRock, they'll just dump Bitcoin, and then that's not what the miners want, because the miners want to continue to make money. So the miners are going to listen to the guys with the big boy pants, right? So
Yep.
All right. Let's kind of get to our next segment here. So we are lucky enough every Monday to be able to talk to a founder of a chain, and that founder is Jeff from Merlinchain. Merlin has been one of the strongest coins in the last, I want to say, a couple months here. We've seen on 10/10, October 10th, with a huge liquidation. Merlin was one of the few tokens that did not just have a crazy downward candle. Merlin is building something awesome. He actually recently just had an upgrade as of last week, which does some really cool stuff with some Bitcoin L1 type of area. We're going to talk about that. We're talking about so much more. But without further ado, let's bring in the man himself. Let's bring in Jeff. Jeff, welcome back to OnChain Revolution, sir. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, sorry about missing last week. And I mean, these 2 weeks are very rough. Bitcoin, I think it might still go down a little bit. But I think the whole market sentiment is bad. Lots of bad things happen. I can share more details. during the show. And but yeah, always feel good to be back, and always feel good to be back to share more stuff we're building.
Yeah, glad to have you back for sure. Curious though, I kind of want to jump right into it because you have the experience of being in the space for a long time, and one of the topics that we've been talking about, the main topic of the show, is this time different? And you can look at this chart here, and the past two times that Bitcoin had formed a weekly candle underneath the 50-week SMA, it was the start of a bear market, right? You saw it here in July 20, I think it was actually May or June of 2018. And then you had about 2.5 months of sideways. And then, the bear market was there. And then December of 2021, it broke down, formed a candle below this yellow line is the 50-week SMA. It had about 2 months and then broke down, bear market. Here, the difference is we actually had these euphoric peaks in 2021 and 2017 for Bitcoin. We haven't had that necessarily here. Is this time different because of the whole TradFi? What's your thesis on that in terms of the 4-year cycle maybe going away?
Yeah, I think the cycle is. I think we talk about this a lot. I think the cycle is definitely different. In my opinion, it's different. It's because it has more outside influence, from ETF, from DAT, from U.S. government, from different countries' government. So I don't think Bitcoin is a independent asset anymore like before, because before it's very niche market. Some people are doing it, but in general, it's like when we see miners start dumping all their Bitcoin, the price goes down, and that's what happened in ICO era, and also what happened in the COVID era. But this time the price is more pushed. Like last year, it was pushed because of ETF. We saw a lot of ETF coming in and buying Bitcoin. And this year we see lots of DAT company, like starting with Bitmine, MicroStrategy, and we see lots of policies which some of them are already finished done by Trump government. Some of them are not. So so nobody can predict what happened next. With the interest rate, is it dropping again next year? SEC, will they have a new chairman? What is Trump going to do with crypto? Is the trade war going to be bigger or smaller? Will China and US have a peaceful trade deal? Will China have a war with Japan and Taiwan? There are lots of things considered, and because they are the major holders for Bitcoin right now, so that's why we're looking at them all the time. Before, we're looking at all these sleepy whales.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. It's definitely different. We can't, and that's been one of the hardest things is forecasting and speculating, which is a part of our job, obviously. And so it's been really tough with that. One of the comments that I made was, take this as an opportunity that if it is change the 4-year cycle, learn how it's going to either form into a new way of being successful in this industry, or if there's a new type of cycle. But I think it's more of that first one. It's more about learning what is going to affect, what variables are affecting our industry now, which has changed as like every 4 years was kind of like a casino opportunity, make money, come out, and then 4 years later, same thing. Now it seems like, hey, this is a living, ongoing market, and learn it as it's being formed right now.
Yeah, definitely. And it just has more things to care about, and the game is different too. Many people made money last time, lost their money this time. So I think the painful part and the beautiful part about crypto is you have to keep learning. Everything you learned last year doesn't make any sense now. Anything you learned last cycle definitely not making any sense now. So
Yeah, for sure. Tom Lee came out with this quote this weekend, and he said, to me, the weakness in the crypto has all the signs of a market maker or two with major hole in their balance sheet. And this is something that you actually hinted to us about 2 weeks ago, last time you were on, and you said, hey, I'm a little worried about some of these market makers right now. Are you still feeling that same way? And do you think Tom Lee's right here?
I think in general, that's right. That's what we're talking about. I think like a month ago when the incident happened, right? I say, when you see this kind of liquidation, definitely some people lost, big money. I don't believe retail, lose like 40 billion in one day. It has to be some institutions. I think that tweet is, more about, like a tweet that makes people wonder, oh, who is the market maker or two, right? But, in general, I don't think it's like a one or two. It's like a very complicated situation. I know some market makers lost some money, but so, in their balance sheet, that's nothing. But also when you see like the string incidents, with all this vote, like the USDX, I believe, and also some other stable coins. I think right now stablecoin and all these vote liquidation or rug pull will be one of the main issues here, because like that, just like today, I don't know if you guys see the news, a project called Yala, which is a Bitcoin-based collateral stablecoin. You guys probably know this idea. Use Bitcoin as collateral and have some stables, minting from that, whatever. Many people are doing that. I think their stablecoin depact basically goes to zero, and they haven't explained. Yeah, they haven't explained the situation yet. But this is just one case happened today. In the past 2 weeks, I saw several projects having the same issues. Like, I don't want to name names. Some of them already depacked the rug pull. Some of them are in the process, because the Yada thing was kind of alarmed 2 days ago by some on-chain detectives and stuff. So there's still lots of that going on. What happens is, first, the users lose all the liquidity first. Second is, if the project, if the hacker, if God knows who, if they use those token to borrow assets from lending protocols, that will cause other problems after that. So it's like it's like a cycle. One goes to zero and hurts others. So for example, I think in the past 2 weeks, if you go on all these major chains, even Sway, if you go on Navi, all the stables liquidity are drained, are withdrawn. So for example, I like to explain this in a easier way to understand. So for example, if you lend stables to others and you earn rate, right? So you're doing everything fine, you do nothing wrong, you put your stables there to earn interest rate, to lend to others, and other people use their crap, whatever that token is, to borrow stables from you, and they just don't give it back to you. So what happens right now is all these lenders who try to withdraw tokens, they can't, because the pools are all drained. And all these chains and lending protocols try to put in more, like 30 million, 60 million. When they put money in, it got drained like in seconds. So you can see many lenders, they cannot withdraw their stables, but still they're making like 150% yields. But when these collaterals cannot be paid out, they will get all these scrap tokens, and they cannot redeem them to wherever chain that is, or wherever protocol that is. And what bad about this is, I saw the influence a couple weeks ago. I think I talked to Shizi about that. Is it started with some really, really bad protocol that has no no legit things at all, but then you will have influence on some other protocols who are somehow legit, but also have because every protocol has some liquidity issues, probably has some liquidity issues behind that, and then people got panic, people start withdrawing, people start redeeming, and they just cannot pay it. Just like what happened with the Silicon Valley Bank. I don't know if you guys remember that, because like no bank can say they're safe. No bank can say that. Probably U.S. government can do that because they can print money all the time. But so that will go from all these bad projects to somehow in the middle protocols, and then influence some really really legit projects like Ethena. So you can see Ethena, like I think their circulation was like 13 billion US dollars, now down to like, I don't know, 87. I haven't checked yet, but like 87. So if people start getting more and more panic and start withdrawing liquidity, it could be a very, very bad instance, and it will have influence on everyone. Don't think if you don't be if you're not lender on chain. Also, the lending protocol can be can be rocked, can be hacked. And then think about all these exchanges. Every exchange, including Binance, OKX, BitGet, Gate, whatever. Every exchange is using Ethena, half is on the exchange. So everyone will be influenced as long as you play this game. And even you are just buying BRC20 on Bitcoin, it doesn't matter, because all these people will just dump all their altcoins just trying to get liquidity back. So you will be affected as well. So sorry taking this long, but to me, for the past 2 weeks, what we are monitoring, I think the stablecoin or LRT wrapping or all these lending protocol are the main concerns, because we're kind of helping different lending protocols to share all liquidity to them with stables. They're giving like very, very high yield, but also when we put in, the money just disappeared.
Yeah, I mean, don't apologize. I think that was an amazing breakdown of what's happening behind the curtain in the scene. Obviously, with the information and stuff that we have, and the audience, I'm sure they appreciate that, definitely. But it's almost kind of like October 10th was just too kind of plan for max pain from like institution to institution globally, and maybe there's going to be some regulation that gets passed to make the space feel better or something like that, right? And we know that there's something coming up. Could you see a scenario to where there's going to be some hey, look, if you get in trouble, we can help you out type of regulation coming?
I think in the long run it will happen, but right now it's just too complicated for regulators, for government to understand. Binance is not running in US, but it has influence on all the other exchanges and market makers. So imagine you are a market maker in US who is trading on Coinbase, which can be okay, but you're also trading on other exchanges as well to arbitrage. So it's not running in US, but also has influence on every other exchange. And nobody knows who started this. Like, does it started on Binance or on other exchanges? Like, all these questions are not answered yet. So, and also government, US government is still having struggle with all this shutdown, whatever thing. I don't think they have their priority on crypto at this moment. So I think in general, the industry is getting more and more regulated for sure, comparing to a few years ago. But I don't think that problem can be solved now. And the reason I brought up the stablecoin, the vault situation is those people who are having your assets are doing market making, are doing arbitraging, are doing all this to make yields for you. And if they got like liquidated in that instance, that's why right now my major concern is about on-chain lending and all this stable coin, because nobody knows like who got affected the most, and it will just show like weeks by weeks, probably not now, but by days and weeks later, you will see, okay, this protocol definitely got hacked or definitely got like liquidated because they cannot redeem your assets.
Yeah, for sure. Especially when it comes to like Bitcoin like dipping and stuff like that, and basically who's selling down their Bitcoin to kind of fix holes in their balance sheet and stuff like that. That's definitely a question that I'm thinking about right now. But the Merl token has been something that's been insanely strong. I mean, there's one of the few tokens who, like I said, really didn't get hit by that 1010 liquidation event, but it has been strong against everything. I mean, about 35 cents right now. In June, this thing was like 7 cents. Why do you think that the Merl token has been so strong when it comes to everything else?
To be honest, I think it's just because we actually buy token back from the market. It's a simple math question, because everybody is selling, everybody is losing money. Even you're not losing money on Merl, you probably lose money on some other assets. So you need to sell that token, the only token that makes you profits, dump it and buy something else to make sure you don't get like liquidated. So that's what happens in the bear market, that nobody can survive. It's just because if your price is okay, people will sell that and to buy others. That's just what panic people will do. So but we continue to buy back, executing what we made promise of. We don't know how much revenue we'll have in the future in the next few months, but whatever we have, we put them into the buyback plan. And I think that's why it gives people confidence, and it also gives holders like a more confidence to become a diamond hand to hold token.
Yeah, I was also thinking that potentially it could be the yields. I mean, you guys are the only ones I know are giving 45% yield on a 6-month lockup. And on top of that, you get 15% yield with no lockup. Do you think that's a part of it as well?
Yeah, of course. And when people are making money by staking, and you can, like, when we talk about this staking like a month ago, if you actually listen to the show and start doing that, you're definitely making a lot of money, because even by the linear vesting to your wallet, you can sell that to cover your original assets. But in general, you're making like a lot of money. So yeah, but I don't think there's any magic behind everything. It's more about building, be there, and like use money, use treasury, to buy back tokens to give confidence to markets. I cannot say for sure, Merl token is going to be up again, up more. But I'm just saying, I think right now it's in a healthy situation.
Yeah, and another thing as well is, I think, always be prepared for worst case scenario, right? And a lot of retail users, I think a lot of builders were just counting on 2025 to see some sort of peak of euphoria. And I think that really hurt a lot of people. But the biggest lesson is be ready for any situation, the doomsday situation, whatever it is. And I think people will probably use that more in the future as well. But I'd love to get into the updates for Merlinchain. There was a ZK update as well. Could you get into that and talk about how it affects the Merlinchain and what users can look forward to?
Yeah, it's more like preparations, upgrade for the future major upgrades. We're still trying to achieve the goal that doing rollups on Bitcoin Layer 1. We saw lots of protocols claim they can do Bitcoin Layer 1 smart contract or rollups throughout the years, like in the past 2 years. But I don't think any of that is the ideal solution in my mind. I'm sure you guys probably went deep into those protocols before, but somehow they're using third-party validators or nodes, whatever, indexers to do whatever they claim to do. But VM is something that you can fully verify transactions on Bitcoin Layer 1, and it's fully trustless. So that's still the goal we're going for. And we are working with many other teams as well. We just had a call with the Bitcoin OS guys. So yeah, so I think we're still trying to do that, and in order to do that, we need to have some minor upgrades, time to time, probably like half a year, and we aim to actually achieve that in 2026 or 2027. But it's not an easy job. So I think that's just something we need to do. No matter how the market, how the price is, we still need to achieve that. If someday Bitcoin Layer 2 can actually do that, I think that would be very, very important for their long-term ecosystems, because people can have fully trust on that. Right now, we see all these solutions, all these Layer 2s, all these whatever swap. People can still challenge that, but I think one day BVM actually like succeeds on Layer 1. I think that's the day people can be very trustless and no questioning about the structure anymore.
Yeah, 100%. And I think doing transactions on Merl, having them rolling up and finalizing on Bitcoin, very similar to how when Base does a transaction, it eventually finalizes on Ethereum. This could actually open up a lot of leeway for you guys, where you guys can use native Bitcoin and stuff like that. Is that kind of where you see Merl going in the next years to come?
Yeah, because right now it's still more like we marketing, we have community, we convince people to do, but in the long run, like for example, someday if we want to try to convince MicroStrategy to put their Bitcoin on Merlin, that's like the step one you need to do, because they need to make sure you are trustless solutions, and we see lots of institutions put their money on the Ethereum Layer 2s. So I think that's what the Bitcoin Layer 2 needs. no matter how safe we claim ourselves to be, still I think the infrastructure is the most important part. But like I said, I think like last year, like 18 months ago, I always say people are hyping this idea a lot. You see lots of people hyping about the BitVM on the Twitter, like pretending they are the expert on that. Nobody actually achieved it. So, like I said, building is always a long run. It's a marathon. So it doesn't matter what you said. It matters who actually did that. Like finally.
Yeah. I mean, it's honorable that you guys are sticking to what you said in the beginning, and that was one of the long-term goals there. Even though it's been really, really hard, and you said a lot of people basically are attempting this, it's not having success with it yet. But I do believe there will be success. Those that whole BitVM group, they are working hard on it, and they're passionate about it. But in other go ahead.
Yeah, but like right now, there are very few people like still talking about BVM like a year ago. Very few people talk about what's that. Like I already forgot. Like what's the new update for
new bit?
No, like what they are trying, like the
bit,
whatever
bit 444. Bit 444.
Yeah, something like that. Like a new upgrade on Bitcoin Layer 1, like the protocol. Like but now like people don't talk about that anymore. I think so. That's why you see many people are just trying to use the narrative to hide the project, but just like nothing can be accomplished very easily.
Yeah, Cat VM was one of them too, with the whole UDI and OpCat and stuff like that, and all that stuff. That's pretty funny. But what about other aspects of Merlinchain? You have the Wizard, which is your AI product, which is amazing. You can do cross-chain swaps and stuff like that. And then you obviously have your main product, which is the BTC-Fi. Is that still the main focus, or are you guys kind of focusing more on Wizard now? Where are you guys at?
Yeah, I think BTC-Fi is definitely right now we put more effort in, and especially when we saw a DeFi problem there, we see some like major risks there. So we need to make sure that our stakeholders are staying safe. For example, like the balancer incidents got hacked that day. We need to figure out do we have exposure with balancer, which is no. But we need to figure out what's going on. And also right now you see lots of lending protocols like we are on Say, but there are some things happening there. You see lots of announcement made by Say, by Navi, all these protocols on daily basis. So we need to track the chain on-chain activities. We need to track everything. Even we are not the founder of Sui or Navi or all these lending protocols, but we need to pay more attention than others because we want to make sure that we have exposure there. And also, so that's why we kind of turn off our risk mode, trying to make sure our users don't lose any money, but at the same time trying our best to earn some yields somewhere. So yeah, I think right now BTC-Fi is something take most of our efforts and time and resources to do. If we can get through this phase, if we see like no major risks on chain anymore, if we see Athena doing well again, yeah, probably we'll having more resources and time for other innovations. I think right now people should be focused on lose less. It's very hard to win, but it's very easy to lose.
Yeah, I love that. Lose less, win more, if you can. But as my final question, 2 weeks ago, we had a conversation about X402. You were knee deep in the research for that. Are you still feeling bullish on that whole narrative?
I still feel bullish. I think that's what actual bullish protocol should be, because you see many artificial hype in the past few years. And what happens is, it goes up. Everybody, trying to, getting FOMO. Everyone's getting FOMO and trying to make some money, and then everyone lose money. But right now, when I see all these, X402, no matter it's like tokens or protocols or builders, I think they're taking their time. It kind of like I mean, 99% I can be wrong because it's always easy to be wrong on new narrative. But I think that reminded me of what happened with BRC20 at the beginning. Like some people are very bullish about it, some people are not. There are lots of FUD, on BRC20 already at that time. But we see many steady builders just keep silent, but like keep building. and eventually a month later you see lots of products using ordinal inscriptions to do cool things. And if you see like all this artificial hype, which means you only see people bullish and you see nobody fun, because everybody's trying to make money out of that. But with Floor 2, we see lots of opinions going on. We see lots of builders doing stuff behind the curtain. So yeah, so to me, I think right now I really feel pretty good about that. Not suggesting any token. I don't have any X42 token at all. I just think it's more like a builder thing at this moment, and I'm glad it's more a builder thing, because if we have like 100 tokens about that could be very, very bad news.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree with you on that. And it seems like it's an innovation that's bringing builders together rather than trying to split liquidity, like you said. So that is definitely a plus there. All right. So one last question from the audience, sort of. So like, Bitcoin Core is the software that most of the nodes are running right now. And then you have Bitcoin Knots. And so Knots is the ones that's trying to filter the spam, get rid of ordinals and stuff. So I assume you are a supporter of Bitcoin Core.
Of course. Yeah. But I really don't have time to be a supporter right now. I'm just a guy, just my own business, stay away from all this stuff.
Political stuff.
Yeah, I think like last year, I think the political stuff ruined the community, like with the BRC20 versus ruins, like everybody loses. It's always about if you win together, or you lose together.
Yeah, I agree with that. Well, Shizzy, do you have anything else for Jeff?
That's it.
All right, Jeff. Well, we appreciate your time as always. Very valuable time you give us every week, and we look forward to speaking with you next week.
Cool. See you guys.
Thanks, Jeff.
Take it easy.
Absolutely awesome. You got to think of the stuff that Merle's bringing to the table right now, right? They're bringing, the staking yield, 45% you're earning, on your 6-month lockup, 15% on no lockup, which is a 7-day cooldown phase, right? On top of that, they're becoming a true Bitcoin L2 with this new ZK update, and on top of that, they have the AI wizard that potentially is going to have some X402s type of stuff in it too. I think there's so many reasons to be bullish on Merle. I can't even pick the number one reason to be bullish. I mean, the price action alone, because of the buybacks, which is another reason. It's just so many reasons to be bullish on Merle, I guess.
I can pick a reason, and I think it's kind of what I said in there, and it's preparation for any situation.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, there's a small percentage of people that are in terms of builders. Obviously, if you're a mega chain like Ethereum, Base, those type, Merlin's newer. It came out in early of 2024. So, the mega chains are safe, obviously, but some of the newer ones, they might have some struggles with liquidity and stuff, but they prepared for like doomsday, the worst case scenario. And so I think that's one of the reasons why they're healthy and strong. Yeah, so that would be my number one reason, but appreciate him every week, jumping on. He doesn't have to do that. And, I think the audience appreciates it as well.
Yeah, 100%. All right, let's jump into some other stuff here. The TradFi this morning, they're all waiting for one thing, which is really weird. They always say this stuff, but Nvidia Q3 earnings drop Wednesday as AI chip demand shows no signs of slowing down. They're basically saying this morning that the entire market, TradFi, is waiting to hear from Jensen Huang of Nvidia and kind of see what he says to be bullish or bearish. How do you feel about the entire market? TradFi market is on the back of Nvidia right now.
I mean, that's crazy to me.
Yeah.
That would be like waiting for Vitalik to talk or something. And, for us, the type of people that we wait on is Jerome Powell, Trump, but they're more, outside of the space. Yeah.
But
I don't think we have like anybody within the space that like dictates it like that. So that's something different from what we're used to.
Yeah. And well, Bitcoin, we're kind of depending on that too, because Bitcoin kind of trades like a tech stock. Right, it trades like a risk on tech stock with the growth. So it's kind of like one of those things. We'll kind of see what happens on Wednesday, but that could be the signal for all markets to kind of start taking off again. So I'm kind of looking forward to that. But the next thing here is the great Raoul Pal, someone that I truly, I live and die by what he says. He is not always right. But he's not always wrong either, right? So I do have this thing here. I want to play it real quick. It's about 2 minutes long, but I think it's really important to kind of hear him say it himself. But let's jump into it.
Why is Bitcoin sort of not wildly off to the races yet? And it's this chart. Bitcoin is basically, this is a detrended Bitcoin, and it's basically the ISM, which is the business cycle. Remember, we've always said it's the business cycle stupid. It is always the business cycle stupid. All these people who claim it's the 4-year cycle based around this and that, they don't understand the fundamental of what the business cycle is, why there's a 4-year cycle in everything. And we've explained it, and we'll go through it in great detail tomorrow in our Everything Code presentation. But basically, it's following the ISM. And rates have been following the same pattern. You see, rates should have come lower. They need to come lower because we need to roll the debt. We've talked about this. That's part of the Everything Code, fundamental part. And ISM, because rates are so high, has meant that Main Street has been screwed while Wall Street's made money from debasement. Earnings versus scarce assets. This is the issue that they need to solve, and they need to get rates lower. They get rates lower. Why? Why do we have an elongated business cycle that looks like virtually no other real other time? It's because, and I only just found this out redoing the work on the Everything Code recently, is that in 2021-22, they actually extended the maturity of the debt from 4 years to 5 years. So that extension of the maturity of debt has pushed out the business cycle a year. The 4-year cycle this time around is a 5-year cycle. We don't know what the next one will be until we see where they all end up getting refinanced, whether it comes back to 4 because they managed to get some stuff at the long end, or whether they shorten it because everything's in the short end. We don't know yet, but this one is a 5-year cycle. And this is what it looks like. A 5.4-year sine curve. 5.4 years is the exact average weighted maturity of the debt. And it tells us the ISM should peak by 2026. We think liquidity probably peaks before that, as the rate of change of ISM changes and the rate of change of liquidity changes. Our best guess remains well into 2026, probably Q2. Why is...
All right, a lot to take in there. I watched this a few times already. I'd love to know your opinion on it.
Well, it explains what's going on.
Yeah.
He's bringing it up just now, but he's probably, him and his teams are like scrambling, trying to figure out like what's going on. And so it caused them to dig a level deeper, right? And it seems like that's where he found this. And it sounds good, it makes sense. I hope it plays out. If that's the case, it makes a lot of logical sense. If they were to extend the debt to 5 years, then now that cycle gets extended, right? For just this year possibly, and then it throws off the years, but then I don't know. It's interesting. And then another thing too is, like, while he was talking, I was thinking too, if this is a new way of doing things. This is a kind of a forcing of a passing of the torch of who was in charge before. And I'm not talking about administration necessarily, it has something to do with that, but kind of behind the scenes, the banking structure, all these things, they have to get right, before that passes over. So I think a lot of things, but that breakdown makes a lot of sense. I'll tell you that. It makes a lot of sense for what we're experiencing right now, and getting the forecasting and speculation wrong for this year. And hopefully, the liquidity inflow increases, like he said.
Yeah, 100%. And it kind of makes sense what something Bob Lucas said from like February. He said, we're either going to be in a left translated cycle or a right translated cycle. He does not think we're going to be in a normal cycle. And obviously we're not in a left translated cycle because the cycle didn't finish in March or April like he thought, but it actually is going to finish the following year, which is going to be potentially April and May, right? Which kind of, everything's pointing to that, because right now rates are still high. We should have rates in the 2s by that point, right? We should also be in quantitative easing by that point, right? We should also, everything's lining up right now to have in April or May. And what's going to happen, in my opinion, is obviously Jerome Powell leaves in May. I think that's going to be a buy the rumor, sell the news opportunity for a lot of people, right? I think that by that point, I think you're going to have rates too low for the new Fed to come in and increasingly lower them, right? I feel like or decrease them. I feel like we're going to be cutting rates all the way till there because Jerome Powell's not stupid. He is somebody who understands markets, and if he's right, if Raoul Pal is right here, and we're about to enter this this rate dropping period, I mean, it's already started. Right, you're not going to drop rates, pause, and drop rates. You're going to continuously do it to make sure that we don't hear that the R word, recession.
Yeah, I'm hoping it plays out that way, honestly. And he's a guy that I've said this before on the show that he's in his late stage of his career. He wants to be known for something positive. So for him to cut rates before he leaves and kind of fix kind of the economy, I think that it makes sense for him to do something like that. This is all new territory, right? So it's all speculation as of right now. Except for the fact that they did extend the debt a year, so that's a fact. We can use that information and kind of truck on here for the next 6 months, right? I just would hate for us to go stagnant for until the end of the year. And I don't think we do. I think we'll have some energy thrust up. So the exciting thing is this year is not like any of the previous bull run years. Now that we know that the debt was extended as well. And anything could happen, basically, at this point. Anything could happen, in terms of being energy injected to the upside or what. So we'll see. I think we get a Santa rally, but it might not be the rally that we all wanted, but I think we get a rally.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that I think this year is equivalent to 2020. Right. If next year's is going to be the blow off top, if next May, and I think a lot of people agree that May of 2021 was the real blow off top. And then we saw an extension of that by guys like Sam Bankman-Fried and these other guys who were really controlling it. I don't think August should have been the top. I think that was manipulated to the fact that they had a lot of money and they were able to do that. So I do think the top was supposed to be May of 2021. And I'm thinking the top now is going to be fully May of 2026, right? And I think this year is going to be equivalent to 2020. What does that mean? That means in December of 2020, Bitcoin went from 11,000 to all-time high of 20,000 and then continued to go up and actually finished the year around 30,000 before going to 40,000 in January. And I think Ethereum is the new Bitcoin when it comes to being that leading indicator. So I think Ethereum gets back to $5,000 in December and finishes December at around 7,000 or 8,000 before doubling in February and heading to 14,000. And that is when everything goes absolutely insane. I think Ethereum follows the 2020 Bitcoin chart to a T. But if for that to happen, we got to get into the second week of December. But we do know the second week of December is when we get the rate cut. So it does feel like everything's kind of following that.
Yeah. And so the summer could be a bit dull. If we get this energy starting us off early next year from the majors, and more specifically Ethereum, like you said, and then we get this kind of not the same all season that we saw before. I don't think we get that where everything in their mom is going absolutely nuts. But I think a lot of energy and liquidity gets poured in. That could be a possibility for the spring. And then, sell in May, go away could be legitimately the best thing to do this year or next year, I should say. And let's see how it plays out, right? That's the thing. That's the biggest thing. The scenario is there. The scenario looks probable. But let's first get that jolt in December.
Yeah, sell in May. My strategy right now, sell in May, go away. And then take the summer off, right? So we'll still do the show. Might have a few vacations in there. But then in September, start DCAing again. I think around election time of 2026 is going to be a good time to kind of get assets really cheap. I think a lot of people are going to be very afraid because they're going to feel like a Democratic Congress is about to take over, which means it's not going to be great for crypto. But hopefully by that point, we do have a foundation that is able to kind of grow without needing, the presence of, a Congress that is bullish on crypto. We still have a president that is, but I think the fear of having a Democratic Congress is going to be worse than actually having the Democratic Congress, right? So I think that, that is probably a good time to start DCAing back into the markets after you sell in May.
Yeah, I mean, sounds like a good setup to me. To especially after this year, and it would definitely make everybody kind of understand what happened if it plays out that way.
For sure. All right, so we do know the latest crypto fear and greed index shows sentiment is now at the lowest it's been since February. We do know that February was the bottom. Technically, you want to say March, you can say March depending on what asset you look at. But for Bitcoin, it was February. And they actually have a chart here. Let me actually show my screen because I did take it down. But you can see here, this is the fear and greed, right? As you can see, February was the bottom here. And we're kind of seeing the same thing here now. We're seeing pretty much the same point of the bottom for Bitcoin or fear and greed. We're there now. I think this is the bottom. I think this is the bottom for all markets, including fear and greed.
Yeah, and fear and greed is finally coming into play, right? To where we can use it to be helpful instead of playing throw this dart in the dark. But yeah, I mean that's a good visual right there, right?
Mm-hmm.
If we see lower than that, I think Bitcoin is going to be at a scary price. But let's see where we go from here. It is matching kind of that low in February. I do remember that just feeling so. It is actually kind of a similar feeling. Right. If you remember it was because after Trump coin had gone and all these like Libra and all that stuff, and Bitcoin was just not looking great as well. And so, but what happened, a couple months after that, right? In April, it started to rise up pretty aggressively.
Yeah, man, 100%. Yeah, actually, make sure I got this on again. All right. So Solana ETF ended last week with 12 million in inflows on Friday, marking 13 straight days of inflows since their launch. The XRP ETF actually got sold down on Friday, but the Solana ETF has been consistently $12 million in inflows almost every single day. This is similar to February when the Ethereum ETF was the same way. It had, the price of Ethereum was dropping, just like the price of Solana, but the inflows of new shares coming to the market for Ethereum back then, and now Solana has been just growing every day. It's like the big boys are packing their bags while everyone else is in fear.
It's next in line. I said that, right? If you look at the asset and kind of what the West at least kind of looks at number 3, I think the West does consider Solana to be the third most popular asset, right? It might not have the largest market cap, number 3, but most popular, and so they know that it can very quickly get aggressive to the upside, right? And so it makes sense to me that this is happening. And if it's the same strategy as Ethereum, then we'll probably see some crazy Solana price at some point, right? Whether that's December or early next year. Could see something like 400 or something crazy like that, right? But it does seem like the same. They have this playbook, that they used for Ethereum and now Solana.
Yeah, it's crazy, and we just keep falling for it, right? We're just letting them fill their bags while we're in fear over and over and over again. But it is what it is. Last thing before crypto price action and crypto bubbles is introducing Aave App, a smarter way to save. So Aave came out with this article today from the Aave.com website, their blog, and basically they've created a centralized app on iOS. You can download it, and you can add money from your bank account. And what you can do is you can earn 9% yield. They actually take your money that you're adding, they actually convert it to stables, and they lend those stables out on the Aave decentralized protocol. So remember, you have the Aave Foundation, which is controlling the centralized aspect of Aave, but they're using the decentralized platform to actually do all the yield generating. So they're actually just custodianing your asset for you, and you're trusting them, and potentially they're using the decentralized version of Aave to do that. I think they got to rename the foundation something else so you know the differences between the two. But I think this is absolutely awesome. You might see a lot of people now be like 9% yield on my dollars. You might see really, really big money come into this right now. 9% yield, absolutely insane.
You know who thinks that this is not awesome? Is the banks. Yeah. They absolutely hated it, dreaded this day. They dreaded this day because why in the heck would I? So, for a small person, right? Like just a regular person, like the most yield you can probably get is through, a CD and to basic like financial product, right? Not anything that's
Fintech.
like
Yeah.
intricate, like Roth IRA or anything like that. I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about going to your bank and doing that. This is way easier convenience wise than going over there, filling out paperwork, doing all that stuff. 9%, right? CD you can get, I think maybe like 3 to 4% max, and that's a great I think return. You're talking about like more than double that, right? So yeah, I think there's opportunity for institutions to come in this, but I think institutions probably gonna be able to get yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what institution type products are gonna be specifically institutions only, and then kind of retail, right? Because if this is for retail, if retail's available for this, then this is gonna be amazing.
Yeah, you can. Me and you can download the app today and connect our bank account, and then deposit right from our bank account right into this. They'll get the stablecoin for you. So you, as a user, need to know nothing about stablecoins, nothing about crypto. You just deposit your cash because it's going to feel like you're depositing your cash in there. They do everything for you on the back end, and they're obviously using Aave. And when you're ready to withdraw, you just withdraw that money, and it goes right back to the bank. You're not actually seeing any type of stablecoin action at all. If you put in, let's just say, $100,000. And the next year you take out 109. That's all you know. That's all you know. You made $9,000 on your 100 grand, right? Like that's all you need to know. You're not doing anything with stable coins. You don't need to know DeFi, nothing. But they're actually taking your assets and using the decentralized Aave platform. But this opens up for a lot of people. Me and you could technically start a company right now where we take in money from people and we just use these decentralized protocols and earning the same yield, right? Just because the Aave Foundation is doing this doesn't mean they're doing anything that you can't do right now. We can actually probably go get 11 to 13%. But they're obviously taking a profit here because they're a company, so they're probably taking like 2% of that yield.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this is going to be a whole new way of business, and it's going to take a ton of business out. My only thing is, how are they going to be insured? What is that protection going to look like? I'm sure that there's going to be some sort of kind of organization that forms out of that, right? Because you have to have that. That's the last kind of that's the last step before banks really stop getting a ton of deposits, I think, because why would you deposit if you can earn 9% deposit here? Now, is it locked up as well for a certain period of time? Can you not have access to it? Those are all obviously details that people need to know.
No, I mean, I read this whole thing and it's just, you can put it in and take out whenever you want. There is no lockup period, none of that. So you're right though, because this cannot get FDIC certified because they do not follow the banking law. So it's not going to be that, but they can go to an insurance company and you as a user can probably pay for insurance on these assets. Right. So it might cost you a couple percentage points or it might cost you a certain amount of money. But there will be insurance products that are built from this. And Aave might be someone that's trying to create that now.
Interesting future with that for sure.
Yep. All right, let's get into the Bitcoin price action and crypto bubbles. I'm actually excited to kind of see you be bullish today and tell us that we're going to Valhalla starting tomorrow.
I don't know if I'm going to get that. But guys, before we get into the Bitcoin price action on the YouTube side, smash that like, sub to the channel, turn your notifications off on, all those great things so you know when we go live on X as well. Let's share the space and get as many people in here, and as well as all of our other platforms we are streaming live to. But let's take a look here at Bitcoin on the hour chart. Let's take a look at Bitcoin on the hour chart. So we are in the sell pressure. You can see right here, the MACD is showing us that, it's still in sell pressure. We're not, breaking this down just yet. It's not super aggressive, but it's steady. And it seems pretty strong, not, crazy, but we'll probably, finish out the session, regular sell session type of situation, right? We're sitting at 93.7 on the hour chart. And it's just been, since we kind of hit this wick down here, which was last night or yesterday evening at 5 p.m. Central, it's just been kind of up and down here. So we'll see if we continue with some consolidation sideways, right? Yeah. until we start to break this down, you know, I feel like we're gonna have some chop with a little bit of downtrend. You know, we are sitting at 93,600. If you look at the support and resistance levels here, it's pretty balanced in this area. Some support is catching some of these knives down here when you get below 93.5. But then, you know, above support kicks in as well at 93,750 all the way until here, which is a higher volume area. So it's probably why we can't sustain above 94 during the sell session right now that we're in right now. So, you know, just kind of keep watching Bitcoin. I think, you know, there's next week is that legislation that, you know, probably get passed. So that could be a catalyst. There's many things that can kind of reverse course for Bitcoin. I think the important thing is to see if it does break out again or break down again, to see, you know, where does it find its footing again. But I'm not actually too worried. A lot of the stuff that we heard on the show today and just went over, I do feel like this time is different. You know, when we're talking about Bitcoin and breaking kind of below that 50-week SMA on the weekly chart. But anyways, for today, I do, you know, expect some chop with a little bit of downtrend until we break this down. So we could see that for the next 6 hours. Nothing too much to worry about, I would say, but who knows, you know, if it does break down again and starts to bleed out, that's whenever we probably, you know, try to pay attention to where we find our footing. The 4-hour does look like it's ready to, you know, close up this weak buy pressure. I mean, this session is so weak right here. You can see almost died off the first time, and then now it seems like it is breaking down here. So that does kind of worry me a little bit, because if we do go into some sell pressure on the 4-hour, we could see that breakdown I was talking about, that you know, potential breakdown, maybe leading to Wednesday, right? Again, zooming out, not too worried. But we'll see. You know, I do expect the Santa rally regardless, wherever we find our footing, if it's below 90K or whatever. And that would be in December though, right? So we still have about 2.5 weeks left of that of this month here. Yeah, so 4-hour looks like it's, you know, probably done with this buy session, but who knows, you know, headline could kind of pop this back open. Something like this could happen to where it pops back open and we go into an uptrend. But if you look here, this downtrend, you know, it's been happening for a while. You know, go back to the 26th of October, right? So this entire month has been this downtrend on the 4-hour chart. So, you know, maybe we find some consolidation. That would be great. And then before we make an uptrend in December. So that's the 4-hour chart for you guys. It does seem like it does want to go down further, so I wouldn't be shocked if that happens on that shorter time frame. The weekly, we already went over this. You know, we did kind of form that weekly candle below the 50-week SMA. So we'll see if it's different this time. We do need about 2 months to see if that's the case, though. So just expect some sideways maybe here for the next couple of weeks, and then maybe if we break back above this, that's going to be very, very interesting, because you see. Anytime that the break above attempted happen, it would get rejected here the last time, and then it got rejected here as well. You see that, you know, broke down before, you know, below the 50-week SMA, and then it got rejected. So pay close attention to that too. If we do try to have a rebound, if we finalize a weekly candle above this line here, that's different too, right? So we got so many things different this cycle, I'll tell you that. But that is Bitcoin, guys. You know, for you for today. In the next couple of days, possibly seeing some chop with a little bit of downside. Maybe depends on, you know, what any headlines that come through, could be worse or better, right? But that is what I'm seeing right now with the data I have. And then Ethereum, similar situation, right? On the hour, just into the sell pressure. Not as aggressive though as Bitcoin, as for sure. It seems a bit lighter on that sell session, and by the buy pressure on the 4 hours, it seems like it wants to close up. So very similar situation here. The daily looks like it's starting to break down though for Ethereum. The sell pressure does. So something to also keep your eye on as well. And also if Ethereum decides to go rogue, which I don't think it will just yet, but that if it does, that's something to pay close attention to. And then you have the crypto bubbles here, right? Which just switched as I brought it up. So that looked good. You can see the top 100, we're looking at probably about a 90% green and about 10% red. So that's definitely a good sign. Some of this, do you notice something here? Is there a theme with the pullback coins?
Oh, it's privacy.
Yeah, interesting, right?
Well, I mean, they've been the hottest,
Right.
right? So it's kind of one of those things where I'm actually shocked that everything's green.
Yeah, me too. But
Like
it's
really
weird that like
shocked.
when something runs, dude, it's almost guaranteed to be the opposite of when everything else runs again.
Yeah.
You know, so like it's like whales are instantly putting their profits in other stuff, but you see DCR, Dash, Starknet down. You have 16, 17% with these two, Starknet down 10%. Starknet has been on a big runner, and then you got Zcash. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
definitely the theme that is kind of joining together. Then you have Pump pulling back 7.6% here. And then the green stuff, right? So most of the
Yeah.
green blue chips are 3 to about 6% pull up. You have Aster almost 5% there pulling up, Doge 2.2%. The only privacy that's, you know, a big name that's in green is Monero, right?
The only
So
one
it's
hasn't
pulling.
run though. Real quick,
True.
go to the weekly because I think you're going to see a huge difference. Yeah, I mean, we could see. I guess not. Well, 14% for that Starknet, 12%. So they're still in the green, just not as
Yeah.
big as I thought they would be.
Well, XMR actually is in the green for the
Yeah.
weekly too. This is a shocker actually
Yeah.
more than any of them. But if you go back to the daily, you know, you see Bitcoin Cash. Someone said Bitcoin Cash earlier.
Amaret,
But
Albert,
rare
Amari.
sats, rare
Yeah.
sats, rare sats. I'm trying to
Where's he at?
try to
Where's he
summon them.
at?
Anyways, we got Sheeb up 2.3%, ICP up 3.1%, Filecoin up 7%. Big jump up for
The
Filecoin.
dinosaurs are coming back, bro. Binance
Yep.
Cash, Filecoin.
Yep. Curve Finance up 2.3%. Optimism up 2.4%. Let's see if this the Uniswap up 4.5%. Let's see if this theme can continue for some of these OG coins here. And then in the top 200, we got Maple down 9% here. Xano down 8.3%. Soon down, not the Soon from Flashnet. This is a different one. Down about 20%. ZK down 12%. This was up too last week. Cato is up 20%. Big pull up for Cato there. Fartcoin. Goodness gracious, Fartcoin. Where have you been? You're up almost 5%. So that's a big win for Fartcoin. Fartcoin's been struggling, man.
Say his name, man. He appears.
Oh, there he is. There he is, man. I absolutely love that. You are a G for always just being dedicated to rare sats. That is for sure. I don't know. I kind of felt like today would be the day that it wouldn't work, but I was wrong. He proved me wrong. But yeah, that is Bitcoin, Ethereum, and the alts for you guys, along with some Luna Classic. I'm pulling up 4.2%. Yeah.
What a CTO at we're a CTO Luna Classic. All right. Let's kind of get into roll call here. Every day we like to see the number one comment of the day and put it on a spreadsheet. That today is the great Tim Baker, AODR himself. Shout out to Tim Bakes. Appreciate you, my friend. Legendary one. 23 wins on the year. Congratulations to you, my friend. Followed by Bitcoin is Truth. Abstract says, I'm leaving crypto. I'm done, he says. K99 says, I'm bullish. Bottom is in. Chips and Dip is here. Shout out to you, my friend. He said, it's all over. Satoshi Nakamoto, the guy who created Bitcoin, watches the show each and every day. I appreciate you, Satoshi. Spindrift is here. Vader time with a bunch of Fs. He's just done. Our chat is done, bro. No is here. Shout out to No. Ryan Bolin, a super fan with a GM. Shout out to super fan. Erdrick is here. Shout out to Erdrick. He says, my Lambda. Tagama. Oh, yeah, I read that already. Shout out to you, my friend. Hugh is here. Shout out to Hugh. Amelia is here. Shout out to Amelia. Albert Amari, I love you, even though you hate me. Appreciate you, my friend. Stan is here, the legendary Stan himself. He said, Albert says, wait, so Shizzy thinks the Knots people will get their way? No, not at all. That's not what I said.
I thought they want the PR, don't they? The Knots people?
The PR?
Yeah, or sorry, the soft fork.
They want the hard fork. So Knots would be a hard fork.
Oh, okay.
So which would split the chain if they chose to do it. So my point was that no one's gonna follow. You're not gonna get your Bitcoin's gonna be worthless because you're gonna have to open up a new wallet to have the Knots. It's not gonna work. Knots people will win. I don't know where this guy came from, but he is here. WebJoe says strength grows only where comfort dies. I think that's the title of his new book by Webdro.
That sounds like a book title for
It
sure.
does. I feel like my wife would read that.
New York bestseller.
Shout out to Webdro, and shout out to all you guys who makes roll call each and every single day. Much appreciated, guys, for sure. All right. Let's kind of get into. I got a couple more things here, but news from the trenches. So this morning you were telling me about something very interesting, and Mario Naval actually came out and basically said the trenches are heating up, which I found shocking because Mario doesn't seem to be someone who knows the trenches at all. And I'm thinking somebody in his chat was just like, hey, the trenches are heating up. I didn't see it. I didn't see it on Deck Screener. I didn't see it really anywhere when it came to crypto Twitter. How do you feel about the trenches right now? And did you know anything that's happening?
Yeah, so over the weekend, there was some pretty big KOL accounts that haven't been necessarily as vocal. One of them, I think his shout out to his account because I'm talking about him is Dior, and he was saying, "Hey, we need a PVE runner," and I forgot what he posted, but it got Tolly, which is one of the founders of Solana, into the comments or something, and he was like, or he posted something like, wouldn't it be amazing if everybody bought the same coin? And I think Dior commented below that regardless, something happened when there's an interaction, right? And then the Solana official account, I believe, asked what the CA was, the contract address. And so the Dior guy, and I could have gotten this wrong. If you witnessed this, correct me in the chat. But it was something along the lines of this. And so he ran and launched this coin and gave the contract address, right? But in Solana fashion with the degens, so everybody was trying to support that coin, right? And then there was an OG same coin that was launched, I think 3 months ago, and people were trying to pump that. So now you have a vamp situation, and depending on what perspective you viewed it from, if you were in the OG coin or if you're in this new one, the opposite one was the vamp. And I thought it was just so ironic because these are the main problems with Solana right now in the degen areas, right? Is that they vamp each other. They don't care to work together. They always want to bundle. And this is because of this deployer culture that Pump Fund created. I mean, let's just be real. It is. They made these creator fees like really high, and it just generated a lot of fee volume for them, and they just liked it. Nevertheless, so now both are cannibalizing each other, and it's a failed kind of movement, right? And so, but after that, they held a space. I think there was about 300, 400 people in there, and they were talking about how this needs to stop, et cetera, et cetera. And so instead of vamping each other, there was a coin that was a 6-7 coin, which is a popular, amongst the younger generations on Pump Fund that was launched months ago. But there was a 6-7 coin on Bonk that had success, and I think it had gotten to like 14, 15 million. I don't remember how high, but it had retraced since then. Well, they were like trying to get together and pump this 6-7 pump coin. So they're vamping. They're just not vamping another pump coin. But now the 6-7 pump coin is at $20 million market cap. So something that they revived. And it seems to be the main runner at the current moment, right? And so yeah, so that's what's going on right now. And so that kind of, I guess, gave some positive camaraderie, I guess, for some of these, groups. And it seems like they're trying to really get this coin to run and be the main runner. But at the end of the day, it just highlighted what the main issue is over there. And we'll see if it can be sustained, because I don't think it can. I mean, Solana ecosystem proved me wrong, I felt like they should have went into some of these mayhem coins that had gotten through the initial gauntlet of everything, because they're less bundled, they're less you're gonna have a less probability of someone vamping it, because then they have to get through the bot selling down liquidity, and deployers don't want to lose Solana from that. So it's all still cabal related type situations, man. They just pick one together, and it seems like that's what's happening now.
Yeah, I feel like they only like the bundled coins though. I feel like they're the only ones who really run, because
they can make the most money off of those.
Well, they're not worried about being dumped on, right? So if they know that they're being bundled, and that those tokens will only sell when they okay it, I feel like that's kind of when they make their money. They run these things up, and then when they're ready to take profit, they slowly DCA out through all the bundles and everything. So I don't know. I feel like the cabal is still controlling things, and until we get real retail back into the markets, we're not going to get no natural runners, right? It's all going to be just manipulated garbage, like we've been saying. You
Yeah,
agree?
but so I don't agree with the bundle approach. Can it be used that way? I think so. Yeah, sure, it can. But that wasn't how bundles were being used. They were being
Gotcha.
used to like one click. Bundles are controlled by one person. You know what I mean? And so you can one click sell 37 wallets at one time or whatever, right? And then you crush. So the way that's how they were being used was kind of fake the volume to the upside, get as many people as you can in, then wipe them out and the coin's dead, right? So when people see bundles, that's what they're afraid of. Now it got to a point to where it was so high, like used a ton, that the ones that didn't have bundles got zero volume. So people were just, if there's people in it, eventually those people would dump on you too. So it was almost kind of like people looked for the bundled one. So that's how bad it got over there, and still kind of is pretty much is, right? And maybe that's why they built Mayhem. Who knows? But people are looking to different areas. So retail doesn't trust Solana, in my opinion, man. Not the utility side of it. I still think Solana has such big, upside potential, because you got projects like Agent Hustle that can do things that are helpful, and the utility side, the ICM has such a high potential, but the meme culture got so just like a cesspool that it like affected everything. And so I think they're trying to clean things up from a ecosystem and standpoint. And we have tomorrow, we have one of the main advisors to America.fund that's trying to do that. So we'll get some information from Ogle. So make sure you guys join that tomorrow's live stream at 12 p.m. Eastern. He also is a main advisor for WillFi. So, one of the very, very few. So we're going to get, some good questions, maybe debate with them. We will debate with them, because I'm sure there's some things that we don't agree with as well. It should be a fun one.
Yeah, 100%. Looking forward to that. I was actually in the trenches this weekend, but a different trenches. I was in the Zerdinals trenches, buying some ZRC20s. And you guys know how I feel about BRC20s. Not a big fan, but when I see opportunity, I do jump upon it. And that is kind of what I saw with the Zerdinals. So I'll do a quick explanation. So obviously Zcash has been something that's been super hot. Its privacy sector has been super hot. And then people have built an ordinals protocol on top of it. So we do know that the creator of this was also the creator of the Atomicals marketplace, not the Atomicals protocol, but the Atomicals marketplace. So I think his name is Lazo. He actually inscribed the first ordinal, which is Lazo is cooking, is Zerdinal 0. I guess you would say. And so we do know that he created the Atomicals marketplace. So he built a marketplace and a way to inscribe some tokens here. And the first token that was inscribed was Zero. Zero is already trading here. If you go to explore, you can kind of go to I think it's BRC20s or something like that. I don't know. Tokens. Okay. And you kind of see that it's Zero, you have Zats, you have Zill, you have Poop, Pepe. A lot of these ones already minted out. Like Zero and Zats are already minted out. Zats is the Sats. Zero is kind of like the Ordi. That's what everyone kind of keeps saying. You do have 2,400 holders. It's about probably a little under $2 million market cap. And then the marketplace itself is here. You're seeing 323 ZEC in volume. Actually insane. ZEC is obviously Zcash, so you guys can, just so you guys know that. But there's 4 tokens that are trading in the marketplace, and I'm very bullish on Zero. Zero seems to be something, obviously 316 volume just on this token alone. So 99.9% of the volume is on Zero. It is trading around a little under 7 cents, which I'm happy for, because that is actually my buy-in price where I got in. But it is, BRC20s on Zcash. How do you feel about the Zerdinal protocol?
Well, I mean, it does tell me that retail is looking to anywhere right now, right? And because I can't understand why they would go to a more friction type of market, right? Except for they don't trust trading on Solana in terms of meme coins, not utility stuff. But I mean, that's the only thing. There's like, okay, Zcash has the hype. There will be some liquidity because at the end of the day, there was tons of money that was made on BRC20s, and I know like the DRC20s, people made like a decent amount of money as well in the beginning on Doge.
Too.
Yeah, exactly, right. So I think people are looking at it as an opportunity, and they're like, hey, look, this has got some friction to it, but maybe people hold more here, and so it's going to be interesting to see how long this lives for, because people don't love the UI, but they love it more than just straight up losing money, and I think that's what's happening on Solana.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you do have to go to, and you have to take your tokens, and you have to, do transfer inscription. So, me, somebody with experience in that, as soon as I buy my tokens, I immediately do the transfer inscription, set it, forget it, be done with it. It is something that I hate, but it's also something I know I understand how to use. So, sorry, but yeah, I try to mute that, but sorry if I sneeze in your ear. But so basically, Zerdinals. I'm really bullish on Zero. And a lot of other people are. I'm in a Telegram group, and it every single person that is in the Spark ecosystem, and I know this because I know their username from Discord, and a lot of them have the same Discord names as their Telegram name. So I'm in the Zero chat, and I'm seeing the usual suspects over and over and over and over, just tweeting. I'm like, these are the same exact people that are waiting for Spark. Like, I'm just like, so what do you do when you wait? Well, you go find something else that I guess you can degen for a little bit. So I was actually like blown away by that. I put a tweet out there. I was like, yeah, there's the same people. And it's like Mr. K. It's like all the same people that I'm seeing inside the Spark. I actually paid, I bought an ordinal to be able to have access to the Spark alpha group. And the same people that are in the alpha group are the same people that are in this Telegram group. And I was just like blown away by it. But you do have, the creator of the Atomos Marketplace creating this. He did a great job on this. So yesterday when it dropped, it was trading at like 14 cents. It was doing great. Then the website went down. And everyone, who says Flashnet, they call it CrashNet in Discord, were a part of this. But then I put out a tweet on Saturday to Flashnet, and I was like, you guys are the worst at communication. I was like, you guys win the award for worst communication. And Ethan Marcus actually came out, and he said, we've been quiet because we're heads down on the most important scaling work we've ever done for Spark. He said, sure, upset, this shit is hard. It's why it's never been done. Scaling parallel DAG with a sub-second finality under extreme concurrency is insane. Everyone's grinding. Even partners flew out to help. Insane load tests, fixes, rewrites, optimizations. We're close. And when it goes live, it'll be the most magical trading UX Bitcoin has ever seen. And I put, and that's exactly the type of clarity the community was hoping for. Transparent updates and clear communication strengthen the foundation. Thank you for providing this. More consistency like this will go a long way. And he responded to me. He said, it's hard to focus on anything else but stability. Should have been more transparent with comms. It's on me. So he did take the blame there and basically said, that's on me. I should have, had more communication. But the communication has sucked. And I think I had every right to kind of come out there and say, yo, say something. Just say something. Let us know that you're still alive, right? Because it honestly felt like it was dead.
What was your post exactly? Was it like, say something, I'm giving up on you?
Pretty much. I did sing a song. No, it was actually is
that song for them though? That's like the perfect song.
I felt that way. Like, that is how I felt inside. My post was very simple. I'm gonna try to find it, but I post so much that it's impossible for me to find anything that was a few days ago. But my post was just like, hey, I'm giving the award. Oh, boom, I found it. It's really simple, really easy. I just said the award for worst communication in crypto is Flashnet and Spark. That's all I said. And I posted their screenshot of Alpha in the screenshot, which it said the 17th, which is today. But obviously we didn't get that. But there was no Alpha in the screenshot, and this was the last post from Flashnet. I want to say, unless they posted something today, yeah, the last post, November 11th. I mean, we're 6 days ago. That is terrible.
But why would they post that though? I just don't get why they would post that.
I can tell you why. It was probably something that they were just joking around. They had a whole bunch of people there joking around. It was funny. It was an internal funny thing, and they came out and posted it. We didn't find that shit funny. We have money wrapped up in this shit, right? Like I am deep in the beta and soon, right? I don't want to see this shit. I want to see announcement of them saying, hey, in November, we will have this done. I promise. I would have been happy.
Well, I will say that the fact that you saw a bunch of the same names in the Zerdinals makes me kind of bullish still about FlashNet, because they want to trade, they want to do something.
Yeah.
So open that back up. Obviously they want it to be stable, but hopefully we get we all want it to be stable. We want it to be stable, and so I don't know, I guess we'll just wait. We have no other choice. We got to wait patiently and see what happens.
Patiently waiting. That should be the name of my my book. But that's our show for you guys today. Huge crowd today for this terrible market that we're in. 289 people on YouTube and X, not to mention everyone on Kick, Twitch, Rumble, Abstract, Pump.Fun, Zora. I mean, we're everywhere at this point. We're trying to get on TikTok. So today at 4 p.m. Eastern time, I'm going live all week, 4 p.m. On TikTok. Fine. If you have any questions, just kind of want to come hang out with us, I'll be over on TikTok on the Ordinal Revolution Media, page over there. So definitely come check us out. Probably for about an hour. Today, definitely an hour. Tomorrow, maybe longer, depending on the people that are in there. But definitely come hang out with us. We're trying to build that account over there so we can get the RTMP and be able to stream over there on a daily basis. But until then, I'll be going live at 4 p.m. Eastern time. Come check us out. But that's our show, guys. Really appreciate every single one of you guys.
Absolutely. Without you guys, we couldn't do the show. We're so grateful for that. But also without our partners, we couldn't do it. So if you could check them out, we'd be grateful for that. And Emblem Vault is the interoperability layer of the Bitcoin ecosystem. And they've been doing a lot of stuff with, the NACA strategy and stuff like that. So I expect more coming from this team. But if you're looking to jump your Bitcoin NFT, like Rare Pepes, like the Nakamoto card or other Rare Pepes, or Ordinals, because Ordinals are going to, they're starting to do some big stuff over there with strategies as well. Over to Ethereum, then you got to use Emblem Vault because they have the most experience in the space doing it. They've been doing it since 2021. If you bridge your Taproot Wizard over to Gandhi, which is the largest borrowing and lending NFT application on Ethereum, you can take a loan out against it. They're accepting loans against your Taproot Wizards right now. They're going to open this up to other layers and environments, and one of those environments is Solana as well. And speaking of Solana, they have the best AI product in the Solana ecosystem with agenthustle.ai. You can ask Hustle to find you some low market cap gems, and he will bring back a couple options for you and let you know why he thinks these are solid. He also has a conditional trading engine built directly inside the agent, so you can set buy and sell limit orders for these meme coins or any SPL tokens in the Solana ecosystem. There is a free subscription level to where you can use a certain amount of prompts. It's not many, but if you want to increase your tool sets, then level up to those paid subscriptions. You want to be able to have that edge, right? And you can actually use the Hustle token. I think you get a 30% discount if you do. And the Hustle token is a SPL token that powers the entire Emblem ecosystem. Also, Agent Hustle operates in Hedera now. They partnered with the Hedera Foundation, and they are the main agent that helps you do DeFi in Hedera Hashgraph, right? And they have a conditional engine built for that as well. So ask Hustle questions about Hedera, find the most, popular tokens over there. He can guide you through that ecosystem for sure. There's going to be more ecosystems coming as well, as they added the Ethereum and EVM stack to Hustle. So expect those announcements to come. There's another product as well that is in the Emblem ecosystem. It's called Migrate.Fund. This team has been crushing it. They're on their second cohort, going really smooth. Have some big brands migrating in this cohort as well, such as Pay AI. So if you've launched the token in Solana on Pump Fund or Bonk or any launchpad, and you want to migrate, you and your community wants to migrate to another launchpad, or perhaps for the team to manage your LPs, because that's how you can get the most fees from that, reach out to Migrate.Fund. They'll guide you through the process, right? Their whole objective is to make it as seamless and easy for you to migrate. And so they have some spots coming up for their future migrations. Reach out to them at Migrate.Fund or Emblem.Vision, where you can learn about all the products I just broke down for you guys. And then Merlinchain is uniting Bitcoin strength through the power of AI. They have their AI product as well with the Wizard version 2.0 that can guide you through Merlinchain's ecosystem, or swap for you cross-chain. You can swap for Solana tokens or BNB tokens. All you got to do is have some Merlin Bitcoin in your wallet. But the wizard can do DeFi functionalities for you within the ecosystem, like use Merlin Swap to swap tokens or stake for you on your behalf, right? And speaking of staking, they have a proof of stake security model. And there's 3 ways you can participate in that. The first one is staking Bitcoin to earn more Bitcoin. The first staking vault ended September 30th. It's a 3-month staking vault. They got 17% APR for their stakers there. And the second one is live right now, goes till January 8th. So it's a 3-month staking vault. But it doesn't adjust depending on when you come in. So you got to get in as early as possible to get as many days to where you can earn. But they're going to be shooting for between 8 and 21%. So they're going to try to get that same APR. So make sure you take advantage of that. And then there's 2 ways to stake in with the Merlinchain token. The first one is the flexible day-to-day staking option, where you can stake your Merlinchain token and earn 15% APR. You can claim those rewards daily, roll them up in a compound interest staking strategy if you want, or sell them, hold them in your wallet, whatever you want to do. Right? It's up to you to do that. If you do withdraw from the flexible, there is a 7-day cooldown period. So just know that. And then lastly is the bonded option, which is a 6-month option. You earn 45% APR. So much bigger APR. You can actually claim the rewards daily, though, just like the flexible, and do whatever you want with those as well. But the tokens are locked up for 6 months. Just know that. And we thank you guys so much for checking out our partners. Now we'll give a shout out to Kai Effect, man. We haven't seen him in a while. Welcome back to the show.
Yeah, Kai Effect, my guy, the legend himself. Appreciate you, man, stopping in and checking us out today. Albert Mari real quick says it only takes 50 million to make Firo. Same price. I have no idea what you're talking about, bro, but I appreciate you and today. But if you guys have a few more minutes and wouldn't mind checking out OnChain Revolution.io, you might notice something that's different here. Our store is actually discontinued. We were just paying too much to a third party and we just weren't getting enough orders. We'll bring that back probably next year when everyone's kind of feels rich. Everyone feels poor and rather buy a meme coin than a shirt or a jacket, which we completely understand. But you guys can come over here and check out OnChainRevolution.io. Some of the best articles still. Articles dating all the way back 2023. If you know someone just entering the space, please send them our website. We really feel like it helps us get started and caught up to where we are today. On top of that as well, we have this article about America.fun. Like Yagobi said, tomorrow we'll be having one of the core contributors over there at American.fun on the show tomorrow at 12 p.m. Eastern time. So that's going to be a big deal, guys. Come and definitely check it out. We want to learn as much as we can about a potential America.fun launch pad and how we can potentially make some money from the launchpad itself. So definitely be a part of that. And on top of that, we got a VPN. I think everyone should have a VPN. Why use a VPN? Well, that allows you to use something like Hyperliquid. Right now, if you get a Hyperliquid, they don't let you use it if you're in the US. So I put it to Italy, and now I'm able to use it. Technically, I'm in Italy right now. And on top of that, you can use sites like MEXC. MEXC is my #1 exchange. I refuse to use Coinbase because of the monster fees. If I try to trade like a few $1,000s, they take like $40-$50. That same money on MEXC is like $1. And I use it like a public restroom now. I get in, do my business, and get out. And I'd recommend you guys do the same if you use something like that anyway. But also, when you go to these sites, any site, with your IP address is sticking out, then these sites know exactly where you live. For whatever reason, they have access to your personal IP, which gives them access to your home address. Don't do it. Use a VPN whenever you're online. Use Nord. Lock it in for $2.99. Lock it in 3 months extra for doing so. So you get 27 months for the price of like $70. Can't beat it. And for 2 years, guys, lock it in, set it, forget it. And on top of that, we do have a new affiliate. We're working with Ledger. If you guys need a hardware wallet, I highly recommend Ledger. Come over here, hit our app. You guys get some really, really good discounts on a lot of this stuff over here. Ledger Nano, Ledger Flex. Only make sure you guys go to shop.ledger. Make sure you use our link because it is the link that'll make sure your assets are real and do not order this stuff off Amazon. Do not order this stuff off eBay. Make sure it's our link here, and that's why it's 100% guaranteed to be real. Ledger Recover, they got a whole bunch of stuff here. Check everything out here at Ledger and everything at OnChainRevolution.io. Remember, guys, we are live Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central, 8 a.m. Pacific, and 3 p.m. UTC. Check us out all week, guys. Until tomorrow.
Peace.
OnChain, 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 OnChain. OnChain revolution, roll call. Market recap. You're not bullish enough, no. You're not bullish enough, no. Look at the price go. Bitcoin controlling. Why you still coping? Price action rolling. Don't fall for bear trap. Swapping indexes and putting it up in the sex. I can take profit right now. OnChain is where I be now. You can never look back. They don't want you to know. How did the market react? Fear and greed, gotta adapt. Now we bridging the tokens and arching the network right now. You know how crazy we are. Nookies are savages now. They know how crazy we are. Chain abstraction, main attraction. OnChain revolution.